With Sam Alexander struggling to find his father, he decided that he would go into space and he wouldn't return until he found him. Good thing he has friends. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you, all alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Sam Alexander thought he found his father, but he discovered that he was actually a clone in our Nova storylines. Fed up with the fact that he has not been able to find his father in the entirety of his history as a Nova, he decided to fly off into space and he wouldn't return until he found him. So, on his way into space, he called up Tony Stark to tell him that he won't be able to make any Avengers practices for quite some time. And Tony Stark's response was, "Let us help, Sam." So the next day, all of the Avengers headed up into space, and those who had not been in space before begin to look around them in awe. But Nova just yawns. Kamala says, "Not all of them have been to space, you know." God, you're such a jerk. Tony looks at Miles, who hasn't been moving, and he asks him if he's okay. And Miles tells him, "It's the artificial gravity. Nothing to stick to. Can we turn around?" Soon, the navigation from Nova's helmet begins to ping, indicating where it's picking up a signal from. Vision looks at the scans, and it shows that several distress signals from various alien languages are coming from this planet. And the planet is about the size of Mars. Tony tells everyone to cross their fingers, and hopefully they have found Sam's dad. The small ship begins to fly back down towards the planet, and Tony tells everyone that there is an atmosphere here so they can all breathe. And then in the distance, a tower begins to shine, and it fires at the ship. As the beam hits, Sam Wilson tells everyone to abandon ship, and everyone jumps out, and Sam tells Tony and Thor to go check out the tower while they talk to the aliens. One of the aliens walks forward, and Vision begins to translate the alien language, stating that over the past several months, many others have fallen victim to the same trap. The land hardly provides anything, and many of them have perished. More than one expedition has been made to the tower to investigate, but none of them have returned. As Tony and Thor fly closer, the tower opens fire again, and Thor deflects the beam, but as Tony gets even closer, he sees the source seems to be coming from a bracelet, and it fires again, knocking Tony away. Back at the crash site, Nova tells everyone that he doesn't see his dad, and Miles tells him not to give up hope. There are a lot of people here, and they are clearly not going anywhere anytime soon. And Vision tells him that would be inaccurate. According to this one, each day a strange energy comes over the land and abducts life forms unable to flee. Some of the aliens begin to get sucked up by this being, and that's when the Avengers begin to grab everyone and try to pull them back, but the mist grabs a hold of Kamala. Thor tells her to catch, and Mjolnir zips by Kamala as she grabs hold. Once everyone gets back, Thor begins to ask, "How long does this stay?" And Vision tells him, "Until it is sated." Sam tells everyone that he has an idea, though it may not be popular, but how about they put themselves on the menu? Not sure where they may end up, but Nova tells him that that's fine. His helmet can guide them back if his dad's in there. And Tony calls out, "Avengers assemble! Everyone, let's head into the mist." As they enter the mist, everything begins to become distorted, and soon Kamala wakes up looking around, and what she sees are Nova and Miles walking away in handcuffs. She looks down and sees that she's in handcuffs as well. She starts to try and shrink to drop them, but Nova and Miles tell her, "Don't do that!" Before she can react, a beam blasts down, and then a hand reaches down grabbing her, and the voice tells her, "There's no point in running. You belong to Annihilus." Moments later, Kamala stands up telling everyone to listen. Her name is Miss Marvel, and they're in terrible danger. They're trapped in an antimatter universe known as the Negative Zone by some monster called Annihilus, but if they work together as a team, they can find their way out of here. So who's with her? The aliens all look back at her, confused. And Miles says, that was a good plan, if they understood English, you know. Elsewhere, Vision says leave him behind, as Tony and Sam help him up. Sam tells him fat chance on that, and Tony explains that Vision is a solar-powered synthezoid under an antimatter sun. Best guess is that it's probably poisoning him. As they all get up and begin to move, Tony says that they're gonna follow the chain gang, and maybe it'll lead them to the kids or Thor. Mjolnir flies through the air, hitting Annihilus, and Thor tells him, "We have fought for hours, and I will continue fighting as long as it takes." Annihilus fires his beam back at her, and the two of them begin to struggle as Annihilus tells her, "It doesn't matter. This is an entertaining diversion, but my Technotron has finally been fueled. The universe will be set ablaze." Back with the prisoners, Nova says that he has a plan. With everyone being underground, they should have bad vision with light, right? So he turns and calls out to one of the guards, asking if he's used to seeing the light, because he bets this'll probably suck. He then shoots a blinding beam of light at one of the guards, and as it fades, Miles and Kamala break free and they begin taking the rest of them on. After the guards are cleared out, Miles helps Nova break from his chains, and he tells them to leave Annihilus to him. He wants him dead by his hands, alone. Back with Thor, her and Annihilus continue to struggle, and just as Annihilus' helmet breaks apart, he tries to bite Thor. The shield then flies through, breaking his jaw. As Tony and Sam rush in, Annihilus flies towards them, grabbing onto Tony and bringing him into the poisoned waters. As they struggle, Tony looks at Annihilus' arm, and he sees a bracelet, and he knows what those are. Nova flies down to rescue Tony, but as he drops him off to fight, Tony shouts at him, "Just get the band!" And Sam asks, "What band?" And Tony tells him, remember Mar-Vell? He was an Avenger ally trapped here. He could swap places with those who wore the Negabands. That's how Annihilus is opening the gateway. There's one in our universe and there's one he's wearing. So Nova tries to fight against Annihilus, but he's knocked down to the ground, and Miles steps up stating that he just checked Nova out of the sky and he winded Thor. Well, prepare for my web shooters. I really don't want to die here. Tony swoops in, grabbing Nova's helmet, and he says, I might have a plan. Someone go grab that Negaband. The team rushes back into battle, but Annihilus flies past everyone to the cannon, and he starts to siphon off energy, and he begins to fire it at everyone, asking, how do you propose to stop me? A hand reaches out from Annihilus's chest, and Vision, wearing Nova's helmet, states that they were just here to distract you. It was my task to stop you. Tony says that the helmet collects stellar energy, right? Well, he just tweaked out a few things so that it would feed off the antimatter sun. With Vision holding Annihilus in place, Thor grabs the band and rips Annihilus's hand off, telling him, I have it. She then holds up the band and a gateway begins to open up and everyone starts to escape, and as the portal closes, Sam notices something. Where's Miles? Vision grabs the Negaband and he flies towards the tower, and as he gets closer, he flies through, grabbing the second band, and he hits them together, and it appears that Miles is wearing them. Miles begins to shout that he would be mad too if he looked like Megatron's ugly brother. Wait, where am I? And Tony says that it's his turn to go in, so Vision tells him, no, Annihilus isn't the threat, it's the Black Star weapon. Even without an opening between the universes, this thing can still punch through. Send Thor. She tells everyone without hesitation, and she hits the bands together, replacing Vision's location. As Thor teleports in, she's knocked down, and then with one swing from Mjolnir, she sends Annihilus flying into the rocks. She then turns and throws her hammer at the cannon, and it bounces off. Thor asks, how is this even possible? And Vision tells her, the negative zone physics. We need to work together to stop this. Thor continues to battle with Annihilus, but Tony tells everyone that they can't damage the cannon from the outside, and Kamala grabs the bands, stating, way ahead of you. Light shines down to swap the wearers' locations, but Annihilus doesn't see anyone, and he asks, what is this trickery? Kamala actually shrunk down, and she's sneaking into the machine, so she did teleport here, but he didn't see her. And Tony tells her to look for anything that resembles a power core. She reports back that she does, and that she's starting to feel sick. Tony tells everyone that it's because it's radioactive. His armor has some protection, but Nova jumps on him, stating, it's my fault that we're in this mess. It's time for me to fix it. Once inside, Kamala asks, what the hell? And Nova says, I travel through space. My suit is as radiation proof as they come. And Sam says, that's great. Does it come with an engineering degree as well? But Sam tells him, the suit comes with as much positron energy as I can throw into a negative sphere. So let's find out what happens when I feed enough of it to... But before he can finish his sentence, the cannon explodes, sending him flying back. Nova then gets up coughing, stating, ha! That was a lot easier than I thought. But Annihilus walks over to him, smacking him away, telling him, that took years to build. Back in the other universe, Thor grabs the bracelets, and Sam tells her that this will be their Hail Mary if this works. Thor warps over, and Annihilus knocks her down, but she throws her hammer, and then Tony grabs the bracelets, and as the hammer comes back, Tony swaps over, grabbing the hammer. As Thor stands there calling for her hammer, Tony reappears, and Thor tells him that was a good catch. With Annihilus now stuck in the negative zone, the team begins to help rebuild enough ships for all of the aliens to leave. Once they're finished, Vision announces to all of the aliens that they're going to need their help. Their friend Nova is looking for his father. We set out to find him, but we failed and we must return home now. So we are requesting your aid. We have supplied you all with a subspace communications code to let us know if any of you find Jesse Alexander. All we ask is that you alert us. Travel safely and wisely. As the team leaves, Sam tells Nova that they won't give up on this. He should know that much about this team. And Nova tells him it means a lot. But as Nova turns out to look into space, he says, it's pretty boss, isn't it? And Kamala tells him, I thought it was all boring to you. And Nova responds with, yeah, well, space is like everything else, right? It has its good days and bad days. But all things considered, this wasn't a bad day. And our journey of Nova looking for his father continues, guys. It's still going, but Civil War II kind of got in the way. So we're gonna have to deal with Civil War II, and hopefully, when this resolves, we're gonna find Jesse Alexander, because I know I wanna know where the hell that guy's been this whole time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian. Check the video on the screen right now. It might be something you enjoy. And don't forget Instagram. I'm also on there at Comicstorian. Have a good one.